Welcome back to the Valencia Property Podcast. Today's episode is called Summer, the Form, and what we've been up to. So, it's Graham here, welcome back and welcome to the summer, you might have noticed. This month, of course, we are sponsored, therefore, by heat. We couldn't really be sponsored by anything else, as it's become a topic of conversation in the majority of Northern Europe this month, as well as in Spain, and also in the States for the World Cup. We were actually offered sponsorship from hydration breaks this month, but unlike FIFA, we cannot be bought by corporate interests. Heat has no representative offering us oodles of cash. Hydration breaks are ad breaks for Yanks. It's now July, it's the 1st of July when I'm recording this. June was hot, and if you're listening to this from somewhere in Northern Europe where it is apparently also hot, but in a different, more humid, more confused in a sort of what is air conditioning way, I can confirm that here in Valencia the heat is the proper kind. It's the kind that makes the air shimmer off the road at midday and makes you reconsider every decision you have made in life that results in you having to go outside between noon and 4. Which is why, if you are new here and wondering why everyone disappears in the afternoon, you'll learn. This siesta is not a cliche outside the cities where things stay open. At least for me, the siesta isn't a cliche, having organised my summertime life around it. Truth is, I organised my wintertime life around it too. It's an amazingly sensible response to the environment, and I've been defending it for 27 years now, and I'm not going to stop. In fact, as I record this, I've recently woken up from my latest partaking of Spain's greatest cultural export. Yeah, more than Miro, more than Dali, more than the Spanish football team, the siesta is probably the greatest cultural export of Spain, in my very humble opinion. Siestas are essential when staying up to watch late-night football matches with bloody hydration breaks that would test anyone's capacity for staying awake at night. This extra importance of the siesta because of the World Cup and the matches being played on the other side of the world mean that a significant part of my adult life is currently happening at times when most reasonable people are asleep. I've watched matches at 2 in the morning that I can't fully recall the next day. In fact, one match, it rained, didn't it? There was a big storm and I forgot I was watching it because obviously they took an hour and a bit for half time. I went to bed and woke up the next day going, oh yeah, I was watching a match. The siesta is how you survive this. You need to plan accordingly. Today, we're talking about the form. And yes, there were inverted commas when I said the form. It's the thing that starts every working relationship we have at the Valencia Property Group with people who are coming here to rent or to buy. We're going to go through it section by section, explaining why each question is there and what we do with the answers. And after that, we'll cover what went out on the blog and the Substack this month, and we'll run through 4 new properties, I think. Let's start. So, the form. The first thing it does is it puts you into our system. We work with a limited number of buyers at any one time. Filling in the form is the moment you go from someone who's thinking about it to someone we are actually working with and actively working with as well. An email or a WhatsApp message doesn't do that. That's just the first contact. We'll tell you to fill the form. And then the emails that come after that, the messages that come after that, they're part of the process. But the most important first step is getting that form filled in. The initial message might be an email or a WhatsApp message, but the process will involve the form always. If you haven't filled it in, you haven't started. That's not us being awkward, that's just how the process works. So for the person who got in touch after 3 years this week and said, I want to go and see some stuff, and I said, okay, send me the form, and they said, well, can't we just have a conversation? Well, no, I can't remember stuff. Conversations don't happen in that way. I can't remember stuff at times. So basically, we get you to fill in the form so I can remember it, and then we can have that conversation. So let's go with the form. When are you visiting? The form asks when you're planning to come to Valencia. We get a lot of answers saying, I'm here already. Landing in 3 weeks is a different situation from those who are here already. It's also a different situation from landing in a year. Everything's fine, but they need different things from us and we need different things from you. If you're here or you're coming soon, we're building your shortlist now. If you're a year out, we're having a longer time period conversation from now until when you actually come over, about the market, about what you need to read, about what you need to expect. Without that information, we're guessing, and we'd rather not guess. The next thing, of course, is the budget. So people sometimes skip the budget question or feel odd about it. Why would I give this information to somebody I've never met? Don't. It's the most practical question on the form. We have 4 brackets from 200,000 through to 700,000 plus, and knowing which one you are means we've already thought about which areas, which property types, which configurations make sense for you before we actually get on a call. And the truth is, we can also tell you the truth that what you want doesn't exist. We're not going to show you something at the top of your bracket and watch your face. We're going to show you what fits and what you told us you want. And then we divide what must be in the property into 3 separate areas: the must-haves, the would-likes, and the definite deal breakers. So the must-haves. You tell us your must-haves. It sounds simple, but almost nobody's written this down before they get to the form. Writing it down changes things quite radically, really. In your head, everything feels like a must-have: the terrace, the 3rd bedroom, the garage, the location. But when you have to commit it to our little text box on the form, you start to work out what you cannot actually live without versus what would be just nice. And they go into the next bit. By the time we speak, we'll have read your list and the conversation starts further along than it would because, again, we can tell you, yeah, this is easy. Or we can tell you what your must-haves means that the thing you want doesn't exist. So, for example, I always use this as a good example. I want it to be right in the centre of Valencia, and I want it to be overlooking the beach. If you know your geography, you know that's not possible unless you get a really, really high tower in the centre of Valencia and a really, really good telescope. The gap between what you must have and what you would like is where we really work. So, decide on your must-haves and then go on to your would-likes. If a property ticks everything on your must-have list, great. If it ticks 6 things on your would-like list, then it's probably worth a viewing if you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. If it ticks just the must-haves but nothing else, it's probably not going to work for you, is it? If you've not told us the would-likes, we start second-guessing, we become too conservative. Neither's useful, so these would-likes are really important. But probably more important are their deal breakers. These are the things you definitely don't want. And it's the question most people often think they can skip because they don't want to limit their options. But the things you don't want limit your options anyway, so you may as well put them down. You can't skip it. Without it, we end up on a viewing, and you mentioned on the way back from the viewing that you can't sleep with traffic noise. So why on earth were we looking on a road that's got a lot of traffic? Fine, we know now, but we have to adjust everything accordingly. We've just burnt a morning, possibly. The deal breakers question means we never put you in that car on the main road in the first place. No busy roads, no ground floors perhaps, no properties that need work, although really properties that need work are probably the best options. Whatever it is, you put it in. Even if you think it's obvious. And really, especially if you think it's obvious, because it might be obvious to you because it's something you don't want. It's not obvious to everybody. And then we've got another box, the last one, about information, which is anything else. And some of us think that this is the most important question on the form because it asks if there's anything else we need to know, like special needs, languages, anything unusual about your situation. People use it to mention that, for example, I want a house, my wife wants an apartment, or vice versa. Well, that's a big red flag because it's like the 2 things can't exist concurrently unless you buy 2 places, of course. If you have very different tastes between the couple, it's worth mentioning in this. We'll do the best, but obviously a place overlooking the beach and a place inland isn't possible. And believe me, somebody asked for this week. Mobility requirements, for example. A complicated legal situation from a previous purchase, that'd be important. Things that would change how we handle the relationship from day one. Well, the form gives people a private moment to say something they might not think to raise when we're on the actual call afterwards. It means we don't get caught off guard halfway through the process. For example, we might say, well, this 3rd floor flat ticks all your boxes, but if you're in a wheelchair, it's not going to be very useful, is it? If we don't know that until you come over, it creates a problem. Next, we go on to how to contact you. WhatsApp, email, phone. It's simple, it's very important. Some people need an email trail because they're coordinating with a partner, maybe a solicitor. They need something they can pass on. They don't want phone calls. And honestly, we're like that. We don't want phone calls because we'll forget what you said and you'll forget what we've said. It's easy if we can, for example, have a WhatsApp trail, and when you ask a question we've already answered, we can just point to that first answer. Yeah, it's easy when we've got an email trail and we can say, I've told you this in this email, here's the email, have a look. Some people only use WhatsApp and some people never answer calls from numbers they don't recognize. We're not going to call someone who put down email, for example. It's a bad first impression, we'd rather not make it. The form's the first time we're working for you, and getting something as basic as the contact preference right is part of that, both for us and for yourself. So that's it, that's the form. It's not bureaucracy, it's not us covering ourselves so we can say in the future, well, you didn't tell us that or whatever. It's the thing that turns your vague inquiry into something much more concrete, something that maybe is a working brief that we can work from. And over time, it will change. And for example, if you're a year out and send us the form, we'll probably ask you to send it just before you visit again. And the reason is very simple. People change their minds. The form is the thing that means we know we're now working with you. The link to the form is in the show notes, and if you're thinking about buying in Valencia, fill it in. It takes 5 minutes, it's where everything starts. It can take 10 minutes. If you think a bit more about it, it can take an hour, because you might say, well, yeah, this is what I really want, and I've never thought about this before, and you might need to discuss it with your partner or even your family. The form is so important, because once we've got the form, we can work much better for you. That's enough about the form. Let's talk about what we've been up to. It's been a busy month on the blog and the Substack, so let's go through what went out. The one I would point people to first is the reading list post. We've been producing guides for a couple of years now, and the problem is that useful information is only useful if you can find it. We finally put everything together in one place, grouped by where you are in the process. So if you're still deciding whether Valencia is right for you, there are guides covering cost of living, affordability compared to Northern Europe and the rest of the world, a full neighbourhood overview, and the buying guide itself, which runs to 7 parts and covers everything from NIA numbers through to post-completion admin. If you've already decided and want to understand how the process works, well, there are documents covering how we operate specifically, what working with a buyer's agent actually means in practice, and what clients receive when they engage us. Thinking of selling? There are 2 documents. Need somewhere to stay while you find your feet? That section links through to Stepping Stone Rentals. It's the kind of post we'll be linking to for a long time. It's there now on the blog, so when you get in touch with us with your initial inquiry, we'll probably include in our email reply, there you go, there's the reading list, where are you in the process? We also publish the full service package. Some people come to us having read the blog for years and know exactly what we do. Other people land on the site for the first time and are not entirely sure how Valencia Property, Valencia Remodels and Stepping Stone Rentals fit together, or what a buyer's agent actually is in practice. That post lays it out clearly, and it's worth pointing to anyone who's still in the early research phase. And then we talked about our referral program, which is pretty straightforward. If you bought through us and you know someone who's thinking of doing the same, introduce them to us. When we complete a purchase with them, we pay you for the referral, 10% of a fee. What you do with that is entirely your decision. You might decide to return it to your friend. Anyway, the Substack piece that went along with that was called The Secret 7, which looked at why referrals convert better than cold leads. This is really important. If somebody just gets in touch from the internet, they don't know us from Adam. If somebody is introduced to us by somebody who's already bought from us or already rented from us, it's a warm, not to say hot lead. It's somebody who's saying, look, I use these people, they're really good, use them. And so you get a bit more attention. The short version is the internet is increasingly full of noise, content that all reads the same because it's all written by AI, looking at you, LinkedIn. People are turning back to recommendations from people that they trust, and a referral arrives with a level of confidence already built in that cold contacts simply don't have. Cold contacts are generally getting in touch with everyone, and we do our best to be the agent, but at the same time, they might go to somebody else because they've got a better AI video than we use. We don't use AI in videos, of course. It's worth a read if you're on Substack, and worth sharing if you know someone who might benefit from it, because in the end, you might benefit from it as well. Have a look. The link, as usual, is in the show notes. And the second Substack this month was about the Townhouse Enigma, which has been brewing for a while, and I've written before on the blog about this. The argument is that townhouses are consistently undervalued in the Valencia market. They offer more space per euro than almost anything else we list, and yet buyers keep scrolling past them and ignoring them, buying villas or apartments. The post goes into why that happens, covering curb appeal, how renovation costs are perceived differently on a townhouse versus a villa, for example, even when the numbers are similar, resale psychology of townhouses, and the ambiguity around running costs. It doesn't reach a tidy conclusion that is right for everyone, because the honest answer is that the market might be pricing them correctly. If you have a townhouse somewhere on your list, if you've been dismissing them on a scroll through Idealista, it's worth reading before you write them off entirely. I live in a townhouse. It's great. I've loved living in a townhouse. I get everything to hand. All of the amenities are around. I can walk down to my office here in 15 minutes. It's great. I can come down in the car in 5 minutes. It's absolutely brilliant to be in a townhouse in a town, near the supermarket, near the sports centre, near the public transport, etc. I love it. If you're living in a villa on an estate, generally you need your car for everything, and you need to go in your car to do anything. And then we did a mortgage post for Americans. We get a lot of American co-op clients, and the questions around mortgages always come up early, because the process here is different from what they're used to in the States. And when we mention the interest rates that we can get, then people sort of stop and listen and think, why would I decapitalize myself if I can get a mortgage at 3%? My interest on my savings is a lot higher. Anyway, the post covers what to expect, where the main differences lie, i.e. you've got to be working, you can't be 80 and get a mortgage in Spain and know that you can do that in the States, but you can't do it here. It's worth taking a look at. It's worth forwarding if you know anyone who's in the early stages of researching a move from the States and is thinking, well, maybe I can get a mortgage, because foreigners can get mortgages in Spain. Lots of people think they can't, but you can. On to properties. I'm just going to mention 4 new listings that we've done this month. They cover quite a range. The one that got the most attention, we called it Eyes Down for a Full House. It's in Entrenaranjos in Ribarroja del Turia. We're having some fun with the description on that one. It's a corner plot. It's a big corner plot of 1,170 metres, established garden, automatic irrigation, 7 bedrooms, private pool, solar panels, summer kitchen, paellero, obviously barbecue area, with its own covered pergola and bathroom. It's got a garage for a couple of cars. It's a lot of property, as you can imagine. The house itself is 512 square metres. That's massive. It's spread across 4, let's call them semi-floors. Sounds more complicated than it is. What it means in practice is that everyone gets their own space, including during family arguments about who's hogging the Wi-Fi, and there's still room left over. The location is just 1 street from Liliana. It's 20 minutes from Valencia City by car, 790,000. Can't ask for much better, really. The next one was Head for the Hills in Naquera. It's another big outdoor property this month. Naquera is one of our favourite towns in the province. This one sits in the Sierra Calderona Mountains with a lush green garden, total privacy, mountain views and summer breezes that mean you can sleep in August and July. 5 bedrooms across 2 floors, completely renovated in recent years with pellet stoves for winter and air conditioning for summer. It's conveniently located for international schools, as long as you've got a car, the coast and Valencia City. 745,000, and the photos do it justice, I think, in this case. The next one, No Regrets apartment in Monte-Olivete. If you want 4 bedrooms in the city, you're going to pay for it because there aren't that many big flats. So this is 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, almost entirely renovated, totally excellent condition, and it's a 5-minute walk to the riverbed, for example. It's close to Retafa, but without the noise that comes with that. The name's there because we had no hesitation in recommending it to whoever comes along. It's a no regrets apartment, remember. 425,000, there's a virtual tour on the listing as well. And we've got a modern, sustainable, future-proofed house in La Cañada. It was an old house in La Cañada that has been totally modernised. It's got a little self-contained guest house for people who are visiting you. Has its own entrance, so you keep them out of your hair. It operates completely independently of the main property as such, unless you meet in the pool. It's got solar panels with batteries, air conditioned throughout. Kitchen opens directly onto the pool. Terraced by a floor-to-ceiling glass doors. It's 10-minute walk to the metro in the town centre in La Cañada. It's one of the highest points, so you get that cooling breeze in the afternoon, even in the height of summer, which is not a minor selling point right now, despite our sponsor, Heat. 650,000. Links to everything are in the show notes, as always. Properties, blog posts, Substack and the form. We'll be back next month, or perhaps before, if I get bored and feel another podcast is needed. More podcasts are needed in life, right? I mean, there aren't enough podcasts in the world. Until then, adios and keep cool. And thanks to our sponsor for this month, Heat. But here's the thing, Heat. Hope you're listening. If you could just take it down a notch or two, it would be cool. Literally cool. Maybe we'll have to wait until September or October. Anyway, that's it from the Valencia Property Podcast for this month. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back very soon.